Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Determine the following whether they are in proportion or not. So it is 15, 45, 40 and 120. So let us write it as 15 over 45 and this is 40 over 120. Let us simplify these numbers, or what else you can do is you can keep on multiplying the extremes and the means to find the answer. But because this is going to be a big calculation, let us just simplify it first. Okay, so now 15 over 45, how can we simplify? We can divide both these numbers by 5, right? In fact, we can divide it by 15. So 15 times by 1 is 15 and 45 comes in 15 times table at 3. So 15 times 3 is 45. So here comes 3. Now let us divide 40 and 120. So 40 and 120, they are both in 40 times table. 40 times divided by 40. So it's 1, and 120 divided by 40 gives 3. Clearly we can see that the ratios are same. Therefore we can say that the product of extremes is equal to product of means, and thus 15 is to 45 as 40 is to 120. Clear? Next one, it is 33 over 121 and we need to compare it with 9 over 96. Okay, so here we have got 33 and 121, both are divisible by 11. So 33 comes in 11 times table in 3 and 121 divided by 11 is 11. Now the next one is 9 over 96. We can divide both these numbers by 3. So here 3 comes at the numerator and at the denominator we get 32. Now clearly we can see that these two fractions, they are not equivalent fractions. So the ratios are not same. Thus we can say that 33 is to 121 is not in proportion with 9 is to 96. Right? The next one is 24 over 28 equals to 36 over 48. Okay, let us check what is 24 over 28. On dividing 24 and 28 by 4, so 24 divided by 4 gives 6, and here at the denominator we'll get a 7. Now let us see what we can divide 36 and 48 by. So here both these numbers are divisible by 2. They are, let's see if they are divisible by 4 as well. So 36 is divisible by 4 and it gives 9 as the answer, and 48 is divisible by 4, it gives 12 as the answer. Clearly both of them are still divisible by 3. So instead of 9, let us just write here, on dividing 9 by 3, we get 3 as the answer, and dividing 12 by 3, we get 4 as the answer. Clearly the two fractions that we have got, these ratios are not same. So we can write 24 is to 28 is not in proportion with 36 is to 48. Here these are the answers that I'm highlighting. We have compared the given respective terms, and by checking them whether they are in proportion or not, we can say whether the extremes, the product of extremes, whether they are equal to the product of means or not. Let us check for this one now. It is 32 over 48 and here it is 70 over 20, 210. So 32 over 48 on dividing by 2, we get 1 and 6, and here we get 2 and 4. Right, further dividing this by 2, we get 8 and here we get 12. Further we can divide this by 2 and we can get 4 over 6. Further dividing it by 2 gets 2 over 3. Okay, now let us simplify 70 over 210. So dividing it by 10 gives 7 over 21. Dividing this by 7 gives 1 over 3. Now what fractions we have got is 2 over 3 and 1 over 3. So clearly 2 is to 3 is not equals to 1 is to 3. So we can write that 32 is to 48 is not same as 70 is to 210. I hope this is clear how we have checked whether these given ratios they are whether in proportion or not. Now let us check the next one. It is 4 over 6. Let me just pump space. So it is 4 over 6 and 8 over 12. Okay, let us check for this one. Here we can divide 4 over 6 by 2. So it is 2 over 3, and dividing 8 and 12 by 4, it will be 2 over 3. Same ratios are observed for both these numbers. So here we can write that 4 is to 6 is in proportion with 8 is to 12. Clear? So we have got this as the answer. Now moving to the next one. That is 33 is to 44. Let us simplify this. Dividing this by 11, 3 over 4 we get. And in the next one it is 75 over 100. Dividing both these numerator and denominator 75 and 100 by 25, we get 3 over 4 as the answer. So we can write 33 is to 44 is in proportion with 75 is to 100. Clear? So these are the ways in which we can check whether the given ratio is in proportion or not. Now, we need to state whether it's true or false against each of the following statements. Here also, we are going to compare the ratios to say whether they are in proportion or not. So, it is 16 over 24, and here it is 20 over 30. Let us try this by doing the cross multiplication method. That is, we are going to find the product. Let me just write it here as like this. We are going to find the product of extremes and we are going to do the product of the means. Okay, so let us see what is the product of extremes. So we are going to do what is 16 times by 30. It is 480. Let us see whether it is equal to product of means, that is 24 times by 20. So 24 times by 20 gives 480. So clearly, because both these numbers are equal, therefore the statement is true. Okay, I'm writing true for this statement because we can see that the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. Let us do the same for the next one. Let us find what is the product of extreme and the product of means. So the extremes are 21 and 10. That gives 210. And the means are 6 and 35. So when we multiply 35 and 6, the answer is 210 again. So the statement is true. The given ratios, they are in proportion. The next one, let us find the product of extremes and the means. So 12 times by 12 is what we need to do at first. That is for the product of extremes, it is 144. And for the means, it is 18 times by 28. So 18 times by 28 gives 504. Clearly, the two numbers, they are not equal. Therefore, the statement is false. Why is it false? Because the two given ratios, they are not in proportion. Let us see the next one then. We are again going to find the product of means and extremes. Okay. Let us find the product of extremes at first. That is 8 times by 27. So 8 times by 27 gives 216. And 9 times by 24 is the next thing that we need to do. That is the product of the means. So it is also 216. So we can see that the statement is true because we have got the product of means and extremes equal. Okay, so the ratios are in proportion. Now let us do the other one. Here we have got 5.2 is to 3.9 and the proportion sign we can see is equal to 3 is to 4. Okay, let us find what is the product of extreme. That is, we need to do 5.2 multiplied by 4. Okay, so when we do 5.2 multiplied by 4, the answer is 20.8. And when we find the product of the means, that is 3.9 times by 3, we get the answer, that is the product of the means is equal to 11.7. we can clearly see that the two numbers are not same. So the statement is a false statement because the ratios are not in proportion. Okay. Now let's do the last one by the method that we were doing so far in the lesson. Okay. Let's write this in the form of ratio. So it is 0.9 is to 0.36. Okay. Let us divide both these numbers by 9. Now, if we are going to times this number by 10, we'll get 1 at the numerator, and let's write it. We'll get 1 at the numerator and 0.4 at the denominator. This is when I'm dividing it by what number? By 10. So because here again I have still a decimal number at the denominator, let us multiply it again by 10. So it will be 10 over 4. Okay. Now what is the other fraction? It is 10 over 4. Clearly the two fractions that we have got, they are the same. Right? The two ratios are same. So the statement is true. Okay. Now let's move ahead. It's again that about we need to state whether the given statement it is true or not. Okay. So in the first one we have got 40 persons to 200 persons, and here we are relating it with the money. So 40 persons over 200 persons, and here we have got 15 over 75, right? So let's simplify this. 40 over 200 dividing 200 by 40 and 40 by 40 as well. So it's 1 over 5. Now we have 75 we have got in 15 times table. 15 times 5 is 75. So let's divide this by 15 as well. So here we can see that on dividing and working down the simplest ratio for both the cases, we can see that the two ratios are the same. Therefore, the statement we have got is true. The next one, it is 7.5 liters and this is 15 liters. The other one is 5 kilograms and 10 kilograms. So here it is 7.5. Let us convert this 0.5 into a whole number. Okay, so multiplying the numerator and denominator by 10. So it will be 75 over 150. Okay, now let us simplify this. So on simplification, we can see that here we have got 75 and 75 times 2 is 150. So we can divide the numerator and denominator by 75. This gives 1 over 2 as the answer. Now again 5 over 10. 5 is what we can divide both these numerator and denominators with. So it's 1 over 2 here again. So what do we get? We get the same ratios for both these given ratios, and thus we have true for this particular statement as well. Okay. Now moving ahead. It is 99 kgs and 45 kgs and 44 is to 20. Let us do this question by finding the product of the extremes and the product of the mean. Okay. So let us do 99 times by 20. We just have to ignore all the units that are given when we are working with the multiplication of extremes and means. It gives 1980. Okay. And when we work for the means, that is 45 multiplied by 44, the answer is 1980. Clearly both these answers are same, so the statement is true. The next one, it is 32 meters and 12 seconds that are sitting at the extremes, and we have got 64 and 6 that are sitting at the means position. So let us find what is the multiplication of 32 and 12. So 32 multiplied by 12 gives 384, and let's do for the means, that is 64 multiplied by 6. So 64 multiplied by 6 gives 384. Clearly both are same, so the answer is true. The last one, it is 45 over 16 kilometers and this is 12 over 15 hours. Okay. So let's divide this both the numerator and denominator by 5. So on dividing, this gives 9, and here we have got 12. So dividing this by 3, it will be 3 over 4. Here we can divide both these numbers by 3, so it will be 4 over 5. Clearly what we have are the two different ratios, so the statement is false. That is, the given ratios, they are not in proportion. Now let us move ahead to the next question. It says determine if the following ratios are in proportion, and if ratios form a proportion, also write the middle terms and the extreme terms where the ratios form a proportion. Okay, so here it is 25 centimeters and 1 meter. So because it is 1 meter, we are going to convert it into centimeter. It will be 100. So on converting this to the simplest form, it is 1 over 4. Now here it is 40 over 160. So both these numbers are divisible by 40 itself. So it will be 1 over 4. So clearly we can see that here we have got both the fractions as same. Thus they are in proportion. So it is saying that also write the middle terms and the extreme terms where the ratios are in proportion. So what are the extreme terms? Let us write it here. I'll just erase this part. Here we have just got the answer as that these two ratios, they are in proportion. Okay, we have just satisfied this. So I'm just writing middle terms. It is 1 meter and 40 rupees. And what are the extreme terms? Extreme terms are 25 centimeter and 160 rupees. Okay, these are the middle terms and the extreme terms where the ratios form a proportion. Okay, and if you find the multiplication of extreme terms and the middle terms, you will see that the answer is same. So it's your wish, whichever way you want to check whether the answer that we are working with is in proportion or not, by using the method of either multiplying the extremes and means, or you can just simplify the ratios, right? Now the next one, it is 39 liters and 10 bottles. These are the numbers which are sitting at the extreme. Okay, these are the extreme and these are the means. Okay, now let us see whether they are equal, whether they are in proportion or not. Let's use the method of multiplication. So what is the multiplication of 39 and 10? It is 390. And what is the answer if we multiply 65 by 6? So 65 multiplied by 6 is 390 again. Okay, so clearly we have got the answer 390 for both of them. So the statement is true that the given ratios, they are in proportion, and you can write the extreme and the middle terms, I hope. Moving to the next one here, it is 20 kgs, 22 kgs and 80 kgs. So 2 over 80. Simplifying it, we get 1 over 40. Here it is 25 and 625. So 625 is there in 25 times table, but if we divide, we get 1 as the numerator and 25 as the denominator. Clearly we can see that the two numbers, the two ratios that we have got, they are not in proportion. So we are not going to write what are the extreme and the middle terms here. Now let's do the next one. So we can just write 2 kg is to 80 kg is not equal to 25 grams is to 625 grams. Now I want you to look at this carefully here. The first one is in kg, the other one is in gram, but that doesn't matter because these are two different ratios. Okay, we are comparing the two different ratios. If you have 2 kgs and 80 grams, say, then you have to convert it. Okay, if you have 2 kg and 80 kg separately in one ratio and 25 kg and 625 grams, 25 grams and 625 grams in a separate ratio, it's good to go. Okay, no conversions required in this case. The next one, see, we have got 200 milliliters and we have got 2.5 liters. So here we need to convert. Okay, because in a single ratio we cannot have two different units. So let us do, instead of writing it in liters, let us convert it into milliliters. Okay, so here we have already got 200 milliliters, so 200 in numerator, in the denominator is 2.5 liters. So what do you do in order to convert a number into from liters to milliliters. In 1 liter we have got 1000 milliliters, right? So we need to multiply 2.5 by 1000. It will give 2500. Let us simplify this. It will give 2 over 25. Let's check for the other one. It is 4 rupees and 50 rupees. So if we find the simple fraction for this, dividing both these numbers by 2, it gives 2 over 25. Clearly we can see that both these ratios, they are same. So let us write what are the extreme and the middle terms. So here the extreme terms, just a second. The extreme terms are 200 milliliters and 50 rupees. And what are the middle terms we have got? I'm just highlighting here what are the middle terms we have got. So I'm just highlighting it with yellow. That is 2.5 liters and 4 rupees. These are the middle terms. And clearly what we have just seen here is that because the ratios are same, therefore the two given ratios, they are in proportion. And with this we have completed the lesson of proportion. I hope you have understood what do we mean by proportion. What are the terms in proportion? That are the extreme terms and the middle terms, right? And I hope you do understand what is the meaning of ratio. It is just that when two ratios are equal, we say that they are in proportion. Simple. Now, we have already learned how to work with some practical problems related to proportion. That is when we were dealing with money. So that for say 50 rupees, you are buying 2 kgs of apples, and with 120 rupees, you are buying 6 kgs of apple, and which case you are at a better profit. Okay, so this is how we have worked down this particular lesson of proportions. And with this, we are good to go.